This is Original English Pod from Sunny English Studio. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Original English Pod, where we dive into real conversational English. I'm Leo.
And I'm Sarah. Today, we're taking a look at a fun dialogue we found between a driver and a passenger. It's packed with natural expressions, humor, and even a donut emergency. Ready to get into it, Leo?
Absolutely. Let's get started. First, let's listen to a short dialogue, and then we'll come back to discuss it.
Hop in. Where are we going today?
Hey, can you take me to the donut shack on Fifth Avenue? I really need some donuts right now.
A donut emergency, huh? Got it. So, are you new in town, or are you just here for the donuts?
Not just for donuts. I just flew in from Paris this morning. I'm super tired, and donuts are my secret weapon.
Paris? Fancy. You don't look like you've been eating croissants all week, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh, I definitely have. Croissants, eclairs, everything. But thanks for the compliment, I think.
Anytime. So what brings you here?
I'm here for a conference. Creative ways to use pastries every day. Just kidding. It's actually about tech startups, but that sounds way less fun.
I'd totally go to the pastry one. Speaking of fun, if you don't mind me being a bit nosy, how old are you? You seem pretty young to be traveling for work.
Wow, smooth question. Let's just say I'm old enough to know it's risky to ask a lady her age.
Touché. Don't get me wrong, I'm just impressed. When I was your age, I was still trying to learn how to parallel park.
Haha, well, we all have our talents. Mine just happened to involve pastries and tech, sometimes at the same time.
That's a great combo. All right, Donut Shack's coming up on the left. Hope you find the donut you're dreaming of.
Thanks, and hey, keep practicing that parallel parking. You're doing awesome.
You bet. Have a sweet day, Donut fan.
You too, donut driver.
So, right from the beginning, the driver says, hop in. That's such a casual way to say, get in the car, don't you think?
Totally. And it's not just for cars. You can use hop in or even hop on for all sorts of things like buses or trains. It's just a friendly, informal way to invite someone to enter.
Yeah, exactly. It makes everything sound more relaxed. Like, hop in, we're running late. It's such a simple but effective way to make people feel at ease.
And it adds a little bit of fun to what could be a boring instruction, right? It's all about making things sound less formal.
Speaking of fun, what about the phrase donut emergency?
Oh, I love that one. It's obviously not a real emergency, but it's a playful way to say you really want something. Adding emergency just makes it sound so dramatic. And
Exactly. It's like you're exaggerating on purpose to make it clear how much you want it, but in a lighthearted way.
like, ice cream emergency, let's go get some. It's a great way to add some personality and humor to your conversation.
Right. And you could use it with almost anything. Coffee emergency, chocolate emergency. It's a way to show you're serious, but not too serious, if you know what I mean.
Definitely. It just makes things more interesting. So what's next, Leo?
Well, I was thinking we could talk about fair enough. This one is super useful when you want to acknowledge someone's point without necessarily agreeing completely.
Yeah, it's like saying, I get what you're saying, but not in a confrontational way. It keeps the conversation moving without creating any tension.
Exactly. For example, if someone says, I think we should leave early to avoid traffic, you could respond with, fair enough. It shows you understand their reasoning.
And it's also respectful. It shows you're listening, even if you don't fully agree.
That's so important in conversations, isn't it? Just showing that you're listening and considering the other person's point of view can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And speaking of making a difference, let's talk about how humor can help in small talk.
Good idea. One thing that stood out to me in the dialogue was how the driver uses humor to make the passenger feel comfortable.
Yeah, like when he asks, are you here for the donuts? It's such a lighthearted way to start the conversation and put the passenger at ease.
Exactly. It makes the situation less formal. And it's a way of saying, hey, I'm friendly. You can relax.
Right. It's almost like he's saying, we're not just strangers. We can have a laugh together. And that can really help break the ice.
It's a great way to connect, for sure. Have you ever used humor to make someone feel comfortable, Sarah?
Oh, definitely. I remember once I was at a party and joked about my clumsy dancing. It made everyone laugh and helped me feel less self-conscious.
That's a great example. I think humor helps everyone feel a bit more human.
Absolutely. And listeners, if you've ever used humor like that, we'd love to hear your stories.
Yeah, share them with us. Now, let's move on to compliments. I noticed that the driver uses a polite approach before giving a compliment. He says, "If you don't mind me saying."
That's such a smart move. It makes the compliment feel more respectful, like you're giving the other person a choice to accept it without any pressure.
Exactly. It's about making sure they're comfortable. For example, "If you don't mind me saying, you did an amazing job today." It just adds a touch of politeness.
Yeah, it softens the compliment, making it easier for the other person to take. Compliments can sometimes be awkward, but adding that little phrase really helps.
Totally agree. And it works across cultures too. It's always good to be considerate when complimenting someone.
So, what are some polite ways to compliment someone in your language? Listeners, we'd love to hear from you.
And here are some examples in English. "You did an amazing job today," or "I really appreciate your help. It means a lot." What do you think, Sarah?
Those are great. And speaking of keeping things comfortable, what about when the passenger dodges the age question?
Oh, yeah. That's such a classic move. She says it's risky to ask a lady her age, which is a humorous way to avoid answering.
It's perfect because it sets a boundary without making things awkward. She's basically saying, I'm not going to answer that, but in a playful way.
Exactly. Humor is such a smooth way to handle potentially uncomfortable questions.
It keeps the conversation light while also making it clear that the question isn't going to be answered.
Right. It's like saying, let's just keep having fun instead of getting into that. Do you have any other examples, Sarah?
Sure. If someone asks if I'm stressed, I might say, looks like I need a vacation, maybe to the nearest donut shop. It keeps things light and redirects the conversation.
I love that. It's all about maintaining a positive vibe while also setting your own boundaries.
Exactly. And that's what makes conversations enjoyable for everyone.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap things up for today.
I agree. We hope you enjoyed exploring these fun expressions and tips with us.
Remember, practicing small phrases and humor can help you sound more natural in English. Thanks for listening to the Original English Podcast.
And we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.